Hey YouTubers, I just bought the coolest little thing. Um, as you know, I'm sort of in an urban environment and I live in a condo, which of course I own 100% now, but I still live in sort of a not really a country environment. So in some situations, if there's a SHTF or whatever, cooking fuel could end up being in short supply. And I just recently it arrived yesterday. I just recently purchased one of these wood gas camp stoves. And it's got a little electrical thing here. It's got a little fan in there. And basically what it does, if I understand the theory correctly, is it pulls air in here. And then there's a fan underneath here which pushes the air up. And then there's like a little sheath in here, and then with a Venturi effect like a carburetor, it runs up and then out these holes. At the same time, it sucks air from these bottom holes here, and then it comes up along the outside, joins the air that's newly being pumped in, and that reburns whatever smoke might happen to be there. Plus, basically, what really burns in a wood fire is actually mostly hydrogen gas, and that's what makes the big flame. Plus, all the impurities make the flame. But an incomplete combustion, just like in a car or a diesel engine, will cause smoke, and this thing right here actually re-burns and turns that smoke into additional heat. And I think that is just the coolest thing. The theory is, as you can see, I cleaned out my fireplace so I can play with this thing. Anyway, the theory is that it has these two AA batteries, and I'm using rechargeables, of course. And here, let me put this on my tripod here. I gotta say, this thing is cool. It's about 54 bucks, so it's not really cheap, but it's about as cheap as any camp stove. It's got a low and a high, and if you plug it into low like so, you can probably hear the fan. Here's high, right there. Well, anyway, I've used this once before, and basically you just sort of break up a little bit of wood, or use twigs if you're in a country environment, or if you're camping. This thing's actually sold as a camp stove, rather than just an emergency stove or whatever. But anyway, the wood, you just I don't need all of that. Pile the wood up, toss a little newspaper down in there. Now I'll just use the little fire starter here. Get this newspaper going. Then once I can see a few black things in the newspaper, the fan will fan it rather than blow it out. Don't make a liar out of me. Then there's a little bit of smoke at the beginning, but then once it gets going, it really gives a lot of fire with with very little smoke. I might need to shove some cardboard in there. Oh, looks like it's starting to fire up here. now, as you can see right out of these holes along the side, you can begin to see the wood gas actually coming out of the side, like almost looking like a propane stove in a way. It's pretty cool. Getting somewhere now. That ought to do it. Yeah, you can see the flames coming out of the sides right here and coming into the center, and as you can see, there's no smoke. I find that highly cool. This is just a few pieces of construction lath. Okay, now that it's going, I'll fire it up onto high. Here's what it looks like on high. So if the zombies attack and zombies are running around and people are running away from zombies and whatnot, I'll be able to still pick up a few twigs and heat up my tea. Looks like we got some boilage. Yeah, yep. We are at a rapid boil. Still got the wood left too, although it's down a bit. So, dun-da-da. And then you just leave it going until the wood totally burns down to ash, and then you can actually use that in your garden if you're doing the carbon something or other for your garden amendments or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how that's done, but it burns down to a surprisingly small amount of ash, just a little bit. I used it this morning for a longer period of time, and there's just that little bit of ash there. Well, that's about it. Later.